Imagine this: a sunny afternoon in a quiet Florida neighborhood. Robert, a sprightly 72-year-old former high school coach, always prided himself on his heart-healthy salads and vegetable smoothies. His garden was his sanctuary, his vegetables, his medicine. Until that Tuesday, I still remember the confusion. Robert's wife Martha later told me. One minute he was smiling, telling me about our grandkids' visit next weekend. The next, he was clutching his chest, his face pale as winter snow. Their neighbor, a retired nurse, called it a warning sign. The ER doctor called it something else: chronic inflammation triggered by compounds in certain vegetables that Robert's aging digestive system could no longer process effectively. You're probably thinking, vegetables? Dangerous? That can't be right. I understand your skepticism. For decades, we've been told to eat our greens without question. But what if some of those so-called superfoods are actually sabotaging your health after 60? Before you dismiss this as nonsense, consider this. The American Geriatric Society recently found that certain plant compounds can trigger inflammatory responses in adults over 60, affecting everything from joint health to cognitive function. And 3 common vegetables top the list of potential culprits. This isn't about abandoning healthy eating. It's about smart eating for your stage of life. I couldn't understand it, says Eleanor Williams, a 68-year-old grandmother from Vermont. I ate tomatoes my whole life. Garden fresh, organic, straight from my backyard. Then suddenly, at 65, my joints started aching. My morning stiffness lasted until noon. Eleanor's story isn't unusual. Dr. Michael Harrington, Director of Nutritional Gerontology at Boston Medical Research Center, explains why. Tomatoes contain lycopene, wonderful for younger adults, but potentially problematic for seniors with compromised digestive systems. The problem? Tomatoes contain solanine and alpha-tomatine, compounds that can trigger inflammatory responses in sensitive individuals. As we age, our digestive enzymes decrease and stomach acid weakens, making these compounds harder to process. We've observed a pattern, Dr. Harrington continues. Many patients with unexplained joint pain, acid reflux, or digestive distress improve significantly when they reduce raw tomato consumption. Remember Robert from earlier? 3 weeks after eliminating tomatoes from his diet, his persistent heartburn disappeared. His joint pain diminished by approximately 60% according to his pain scale journal. But giving up tomatoes doesn't mean giving up flavor or nutrition. Consider butternut squash as a delicious alternative. Butternut squash changed my cooking completely, Eleanor shares, her eyes crinkling with delight. I roast it with a drizzle of olive oil and herbs, then blend it into the most velvety soup you can imagine. My grandchildren ask for seconds. Can you believe it? Nutritionally, butternut squash delivers beta-carotene for eye health, potassium for healthy blood pressure, and vitamin C for immune support, without the inflammatory compounds. Its natural sweetness and versatility make it perfect for soups, roasted side dishes, or even as a pasta sauce base. As Dr. Harrington notes, the transition from tomatoes to butternut squash is one of the easiest dietary upgrades for my senior patients. They get more nutrition with less inflammation. A clear win. James Patterson, a 74-year-old retired accountant from Chicago, couldn't figure out why family barbecues left him feeling so uncomfortable. I'd be fine during dinner, he recalls, but within an hour I'd feel bloated, gassy, and sometimes dizzy enough that I'd need to excuse myself. My son joked it was the boring conversation, but something felt genuinely wrong. James isn't alone. Raw onions, those crisp, pungent slices in salads, sandwiches and burgers, contain fructans, a type of carbohydrate that becomes increasingly difficult to digest after 60. Dr. Sarah Michaels, gastroenterologist at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, explains, fructans feed gut bacteria, which is generally good. But in older adults, especially those with irritable bowel tendencies, this fermentation process can cause excessive gas, bloating, and even trigger gut-brain responses like brain fog or fatigue. Picture what happens. Undigested fructans reach your colon, where bacteria feast on them, producing hydrogen gas. This stretches intestinal walls, causing discomfort. Meanwhile, your gut sends distress signals to your brain via the vagus nerve, potentially triggering fatigue or cognitive haziness, what many seniors mistake for just getting older. It's not about eliminating onions entirely, Dr. Michaels clarifies. It's about how you prepare them. When onions are thoroughly cooked, heat breaks down the problematic fructans. James discovered this solution through his daughter, a culinary instructor. She suggested I try caramelized onions instead of raw, James says. The difference was night and day. All the flavor, none of the distress. Now I keep a container of caramelized onions in my refrigerator to add to almost everything. Another excellent alternative. White radishes. Crisp and slightly peppery, they provide that satisfying crunch in salads and sandwiches without the digestive distress. Marilyn Cooper, 70, from Denver, incorporates thinly sliced white radishes in her famous coleslaw. My bridge club begs for my recipe, she says with a grin. Little do they know it's not just delicious, it's helping their digestion too. White radishes also offer impressive nutritional benefits. High in potassium for blood pressure management, vitamin C for immunity, and natural compounds that support liver function. A triple benefit for seniors concerned about overall health. I thought I was doing everything right, sighs Barbara Johnson, a 69-year-old retired teacher from Oregon. Organic kale smoothies every morning. Kale salads for lunch. I was following all the health magazine advice. Then came the excruciating pain, the emergency room, the diagnosis, kidney stones. The doctor asked about my diet, and when I proudly described my kale routine, his expression changed. That might be your problem right there, he told me. Kale, the celebrated superfood of health magazines and wellness influencers, harbors a secret: extremely high levels of oxalates, compounds that can bind with calcium to form kidney stones and contribute to joint pain in susceptible individuals. Dr. Andrew Peterson, nephrologist at Oregon Health Sciences University, explains, while kale is nutritionally dense, its oxalate content can be problematic for seniors. As kidney function naturally decreases with age, oxalate processing becomes less efficient. This creates the perfect storm for stone formation and systemic inflammation. Studies suggest oxalate sensitivity increases after 60, particularly in women post-menopause. The effects extend beyond kidney stones. Oxalates can accumulate in joints, contributing to arthritis-like symptoms that many attribute simply to aging. We're not saying never eat kale, Dr. Peterson clarifies. But for seniors, moderation and preparation method matter tremendously. The solution? Gently cooked spinach offers similar nutritional benefits with significantly lower risk. When spinach is lightly steamed, oxalate content decreases by approximately 40%, explains nutritionist Emma Richardson. This simple cooking modification makes a profound difference in how your body processes the greens. Barbara now enjoys spinach sautéed with garlic and olive oil several times weekly. "I still get my greens, but without the pain," she says. And honestly, it tastes better than those kale smoothies ever did. Cooked spinach provides iron, vitamin K, and antioxidants, while being gentler on aging digestive systems. The light cooking process makes nutrients more bioavailable, meaning your body can actually utilize more of the good stuff. When my clients switch from raw kale to gently cooked spinach, they often report improved energy and reduced joint discomfort within weeks, Emma notes. It's a simple change with profound effects. What happens if you continue consuming these three problematic vegetables after 60? Recent research from the National Institute of Aging paints a concerning picture. Persistent acid reflux from tomatoes doesn't just cause discomfort. It can erode esophageal tissue, increasing risk for Barrett's esophagus and potentially serious complications. Regular consumption of raw onions by sensitive seniors correlates with chronic digestive inflammation, which emerging research links to cognitive decline and mood disorders through the gut-brain axis. High oxalate foods like kale don't just increase kidney stone risk. They can contribute to quiet inflammation throughout the body, potentially accelerating joint deterioration and cardiovascular stress. Dr. Jennifer Williams, geriatric specialist at Mayo Clinic, puts it bluntly. Many seniors attribute their digestive discomfort, joint pain, and fatigue to normal aging, when in fact, these symptoms might be directly related to inflammatory responses triggered by otherwise healthy foods. The statistics are sobering. According to CDC data, inflammatory conditions affect approximately 60% of Americans over 65, with dietary factors contributing significantly to symptom severity. Consider William Donovan, a 77-year-old retired postal worker from Pennsylvania. For years, he experienced progressive joint pain, disturbed sleep, and declining energy. Multiple doctors prescribed various medications with limited success. It wasn't until my granddaughter, a nutritionist, suggested I keep a food journal that we made the connection, William shares. My worst days consistently followed meals with tomato sauce, raw onion garnishes, or my wife's kale chips. 3 months after modifying his vegetable choices, William reduced his pain medication by half. 6 months later, he was back to gentle hiking, an activity he'd abandoned years earlier. But what should seniors eat instead? A rainbow of age-appropriate vegetables. Butternut squash, cooked carrots, steamed spinach, roasted zucchini, baked sweet potatoes, steamed broccoli. These vegetables provide essential nutrients without the inflammatory compounds that can challenge aging digestive and immune systems. Think of it as customized nutrition, suggests Dr. Williams. Just as your medication needs change with age, so do your optimal food choices. Margaret and Howard Tanner's health transformation began with skepticism. "I've been making the same tomato soup for 40 years, Margaret protested when their doctor suggested dietary modifications to address Howard's persistent reflux and joint inflammation. Howard, 79, had been taking maximum dose antacids and pain relievers daily. Margaret, 76, struggled with what they called senior moments, episodes of brain fog and fatigue that seemed to strike randomly. Our granddaughter printed articles about these vegetable connections and left them on our coffee table. Howard chuckles. Pretty hard to ignore. They agreed to a 6-week experiment, replacing their regular vegetables with senior-friendly alternatives. Margaret swapped her tomato soup for butternut squash, traded raw onions for caramelized ones, and substituted their kale salads with gentle steamed spinach dishes. The results surprised them both. Week 1. Not much changed, Margaret recalls. By week 3, Howard noticed he was reaching for antacids less frequently. By week 5, I realized I hadn't had a senior moment in days. Howard's inflammation markers decreased significantly at his next checkup. Margaret's sleep quality improved, and her daily energy became more consistent. It wasn't just how we felt physically, Howard reflects. Knowing we had some control over our health gave us confidence. We stopped viewing our bodies as betraying us and started seeing them as responding to our choices. Their story isn't unique. Across the country, seniors are discovering how targeted dietary adjustments can significantly impact quality of life. Thomas Wilson, 82, from Arizona, eliminated raw onions and found his persistent low-grade dizziness disappeared within weeks. "I thought I needed a neurologist," he laughs. "Turns out I needed a chef." Catherine Bryant, 68, from Michigan, replaced daily raw kale smoothies with steamed spinach omelets. "My joint pain improved so much that I canceled my scheduled knee injection," she reports. "My rheumatologist was stunned." These aren't miracle cures or exaggerated claims. They represent the growing understanding that nutrition isn't one size fits all, especially as we age. "The most beautiful part is the ripple effect," says Margaret. "Our entire family eats differently now. Our daughter says she's preventatively adapting her diet at 52. Our grandchildren are learning that health requires adaptation and attention." Howard summed it up beautifully. "We spent decades thinking we'd live with these discomforts forever. Who knew the solution was as close as our vegetable drawer?" Let me be clear. This isn't about fear or deprivation. It's about informed choices that honor the changing needs of your body. Dr. Elizabeth Carson, Director of Integrative Geriatrics at Columbia University Medical Center, puts it this way: "Aging isn't a disease, but it does require adaptations. Just as you might need reading glasses or hearing assistance, your digestive and immune systems need different support after 60. The concerning reality is that many seniors attribute declining health to inevitable aging, when specific dietary modifications could significantly improve their quality of life. Consider these questions. Do you experience unexplained fatigue after certain meals? Has heartburn or reflux become your constant companion? Do your joints ache more on some days than others, without clear reason? Have you noticed cognitive haziness that seems to come and go? These symptoms aren't simply part of getting older. They might be your body's response to foods it can no longer process optimally. The tragedy, Dr. Carson continues, is seeing seniors resign themselves to discomfort, taking multiple medications with side effects, when dietary modifications might reduce or eliminate their symptoms. Research from the Journal of Gerontology suggests that inappropriate diet contributes to approximately 30% of chronic symptoms in adults over 65. Symptoms often medicated rather than addressed at the root cause. This isn't about eliminating vegetables. Quite the opposite. It's about choosing the right vegetables for your current season of life. Think of it as wardrobe adaptation, suggests nutritionist David Richardson. You wouldn't wear the same clothes in winter that you wore in summer. Why would you expect the same diet to serve you at 70 that served you at 40? The good news? These changes don't require deprivation. Many seniors report that their new vegetable choices are more enjoyable than their previous selections. partly because they're experiencing them without discomfort for the first time in years. Let's recap what we've learned. 3 vegetables that often cause problems after 60. Tomatoes. Inflammatory compounds, difficult to digest. Raw onions. Fructans disrupt gut health. Raw kale. High oxalates affect kidneys and joints. They're delicious, nutritious alternatives. Butternut squash. Beta-carotene, gentle digestion. Cooked onions or white radish. Flavor without distress. Steamed spinach. Nutrients without oxalate overload. The beautiful truth is that these modifications aren't about restriction. They're about liberation. Freedom from unnecessary pain. Release from digestive distress. Relief from inflammation that clouds your thinking and dampens your energy. Start with one change, advises Dr. Michael Harrington. Replace tomatoes with butternut squash for 2 weeks and notice any differences. Keep a simple journal tracking your energy, digestion, and joint comfort. Small changes often lead to surprising benefits. Many seniors report improved sleep within days of modifying their vegetable choices, likely due to reduced digestive distress and inflammation. Remember Margaret and Howard Tanner. 1 year after their dietary modifications, they celebrated their 80th and 77th birthdays with a hiking trip to Sedona, an activity they thought was permanently behind them. Food is medicine, Margaret says, but the right medicine changes as we age. Your decades of wisdom have taught you that adaptation is key to thriving. This is simply another adaptation, honoring your body's changing needs with foods that nourish rather than challenge it. Share this knowledge with someone you love. Forward this video to family members who might benefit. Comment below with your experience or questions. I respond personally to as many as possible. Remember, aging isn't about limitation. It's about optimization. The right vegetables for your body today create the foundation for vibrant tomorrows. Isn't that worth a few simple substitutions at dinner tonight? Ignore when copying. Start content. Copy download. Use code with caution. SRT. Ignore when copying NZ.